Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's video. Tonight in tonight's video, we're going to be talking about the presidential promise for between Hunter Biden and his presidential pardon that he was granted by his dad. Now, before we get on with today's video, I just wanted to say I know there's going to be a majority of you that disagree or that don't agree or whatsoever, and I completely respect that. But just because he did what Joe Biden did, what he did does not mean that justice does not prevail. It most absolutely should prevail, and Biden, yes, he shouldn't have did that, but he did. But so unfortunately, there's nothing we can say or do that'll change that. Now, yes, he did say that he was not going to pardon him for his crimes, but he did, unfortunately. But it was wrong. He shouldn't have did that wholeheartedly. And I'm a Democrat myself. I personally do not agree. I agree, but I do not agree with presidents issuing pardons to criminals whatsoever. So without further ado, let's get on with today's video. So, as I was gonna say, in today's video, we're talking about the broken promise that Biden made earlier within his presidency on pardoning his son, Hunter Biden, and that it's obviously, as you can tell from the headlining of today's article, that it's raising new questions about Joe Biden's legacy. And I did not notice until now that there's a video that goes along with the article. We'll get to that probably towards the end of the video. So, Biden's broken promise on pardoning his son Hunter is raising new questions about his legacy. Hunter Biden faced a possible prison sentence after being convicted on gun charges in Delaware and on tax charges in Los Angeles. CNN, ABC News, Getty Maps by the Associated Press, and Colleen Long and Zeke Miller. and the Associated Press. Published December 2nd, so the day that this video is being recorded at 2024 at 10:01 p.m. or a.m. Pacific Standard Time PST, and it was updated 9 hours ago. So, Washington, Associated Press. Joe Biden's decision to go back on his word and issue a categorical pardon for his son Hunter just weeks before his scheduled sentencing on gun and tax convictions was a surprise that wasn't all that surprising. And it goes on to say, to those who had witnessed the president's shared anguish over his two that killed Biden's first wife and a daughter more than a half-century ago, or to those who heard the president regularly lament the death of his older son, Beau, which, believe it or not, when I first saw Beau spelled like that, I thought it spelled Beau, honestly, Beau, until a former supervisor of the company I used to work for, the guy that owned it, the owner, his name was spelled exactly how it is in this article. Anyway, continuing. From Cancer or Voice about largely in private about Hunter's sobriety and health after years of deep addiction, but by choosing to put his family first, the 82-year-old president, who had pledged to restore a fractured public's respect for the rule of law, has raised new questions about his already teetering legacy. While President Joe Biden speaks on the South Lawn of the White House during a ceremony to commemorate World AIDS Day with survivors, their families, and advocates. Sunday, December 1st, so yesterday, the day before this video is recorded, 2024, in Washington, Manuel Balcentia, Associated Press. Photo, Manuel Balcentia. And it says, in quotations, this is a bad president that could be abused by later presidents and will sadly tarnish his reputation. Colorado's Democratic Governor Jared Polis wrote in a post on X. By the way, for the ones that are just finding out about X, the platform X, it used to be called Twitter. Anyway, continuing on. He added that while he could sympathize with Hunter Biden's struggles, no one is above the law, which I agree with that. Nobody should be and or is above the law. Not a president and not a president's son. Which I agree with that whole statement, like I just said. Nobody should be above the law in the United States of America, as per the mantra of a recent video that I just uploaded where Glenn Kirshner was explaining to us his mantra, his understanding of the mantra. Continuing, Biden's aides and allies had been reassigned to the prospect of the president using his extraordinary power in the waning days of his presidency to ensure his son wouldn't see time behind bars, especially after Donald Trump's win. The president's supporters have long viewed Biden's commitment to his family as an asset overall, even if Hunter's personal conduct and tangled business dealings were seen as a persistent liability. But the pardon comes as Biden has become increasingly isolated since the loss to Trump by Vice President Kamala Harris, who jumped into the race after the president's catastrophic debate against Trump in June, forced his exit from the election. He is still struggling to resolve thorny foreign policy issues in the Middle East and Europe, and he must reckon with his decision to seek re-election despite his advanced age, which helped return the Oval Office to Trump, a man he had warned time and time again was a threat to democratic norms, which I completely agree. Donald Trump is a threat to democratic norms and democracy policy, as well as the United States of America. He does not deserve to be president again, but apparently the right-wing Republicans do not think so, and think otherwise. Continuing with the article, Trump has gleefully planned to undo Biden's signature achievements on climate change and reverse the Democrats' efforts to reinvigorate the country's alliances, all while standing poised to take credit for a strengthening economy and billions in infrastructure investments that are in the pipeline for the coming years. and how Biden has handed the Republican a pretext to carry through with sweeping plans to uphold the Department of Justice as the Republican vows to seek retribution against supposed adversaries. In quotations, this pardon is just deflating for those of us who have been out there for a few years yelling about what a threat Trump is. And yes, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy in the USA, but like I said earlier, unfortunately, the right-wing Republic doesn't think so. Continuing with the article, Republican Joe Walsh, a vocal Trump critic, said on NBC, nobody's above the law, which I agree with Joe Walsh. We've been screaming, well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law. Unfortunately, he did that. But I am on Joe Biden's side, but I do not agree with Hunter, or with Joe Biden doing that to Hunter. Anyway, moving on. Jean Pierre said Monday from Air Force One that the president wrestled with the decision, but ultimately felt his son's case had been tainted by politics though she tried to thread the needle, insisting he had faith in the Justice Department. He believes in the justice system, but he also believes that politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice, she said. But Trump has already made very clear his intent to disrupt federal law enforcement with his initial nomination of outspoken critics like former Representative Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General and Kash Patel to be Attorney General and to replace FBI Director Christopher Wray, who nominally still has more than 2 years left in his term. Gaetz ended up quickly withdrawing his name amid scrutiny over gross conflicting trafficking allegations. Reacting to the pardon, Trump spokesman Steve Chong said in a statement, that system of justice must be fixed and due process must be restored for all Americans, which is exactly what President Trump will do as he returns to the White House with an overwhelming mandate from the American people. No, he won't do that. Because if he was going to restore the rule of law, then he would not be claiming this immunity bullcrap with any of his cases, which I did a video on, or I posted. I didn't do a video, which I probably should. I did not do a video. I posted, like I said, on my Instagram. Link will be down below in the video section or description. That the federal courts, the appellate courts in DC, they ruled that he does not have presidential immunity in his federal election cases once he is out of office. So what they're saying is that Donald Trump, he does not have presidential immunity once his term ends. And currently he doesn't have presidential immunity technically until he is potentially, I say potentially because of the Disqualifications Act in the 22nd Amendment. With that being said, I don't think Trump will be inaugurated on January 20th, 2025 due to the simple fact that he is a known insurrectionist, he's a criminal, and he is known to abuse women. And he's been found liable for sex crimes. So that's just my input on the situation. Is he's probably most likely not going to be pardoned or not going to be sworn in because of the 22nd Amendment, Section 3 of the 22nd Amendment. Continuing with the article. In a social media post, the president-elect himself called the pardon such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Wait. Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice to where Trump, you are saying you're going to pardon the supporters of yours that knowingly and under your command stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, 2021. Really, Trump? Really? You are unbelievable. And you said that you're going to pardon these January 6th supporters of yours who knowingly and willingly did what you said. That is just complete bull crap. Bull crap, Trump. I do not like how Donald Trump is or has been elected president. Seriously, Trump? You're unbelievable. Anyway, continuing with the article. In quotations again, the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the January 6th hostages who have now been in prison for years, Trump asked. He was referring to those convicted in the violent January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol by his supporters, aiming no, that it does not. I can fact check this right here. It does. Biden's pardon that he gave to Hunter does not involve the January 6 hostages who were imprisoned for 4 years that you say you're supposedly going to pardon them as soon as you're potentially inaugurated into office due to the 22nd Amendment, Section 3. The U.S. Capitol by his supporters aiming to overturn the 2020 presidential election results. Biden and his spokespeople had repeatedly and flatly ruled where no wait should let me get back to where we were. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there. I seriously do not know what happened there. Sorry about that. Here we are back where we were. So, flatly rolled out the president granting his son a pardon. In June, Biden told reporters as his son faced trial in the Delaware gun case that I abide by the jury decision. I will do that and I will not pardon him. In July, which I can verify that he did say that. But again, still, I'm on the Democratic side, the good side. Continuing, in July, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters it's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No. Which he, again, obviously went back on his promise and broke his promise to the American people, unfortunately. Moving on. In November, days after Trump's victory, Jean-Pierre reiterated that message. Our answer stands, which is no. But again, unfortunately, Biden did not keep that promise. He broke it. Neither Biden nor the White House explained the shift in the president's thinking, and it was his broken promise as much as his act of clemency that was a lightning rod. He is hardly the first president to pardon a family member or a friend entangled in political dealings. Bill Clinton pardoned his brother Roger for drug, which I did not even know that, charges after he had served his sentence roughly a decade earlier. In his final weeks in office, Trump pardoned Charlie Kushner, the father of his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, as well as multiple allies convicted in Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Yet Biden held himself up as placing his respect for the American judicial system and rule of law over his own personal concerns, trying to draw a deliberate contrast with Trump, who tested the bounds of his authority like few bear with me again, guys. Predecessors. Inside the White House, the timing of the pardon was surprising to some who believed Biden would put it off as long as possible, according to 3 people familiar with the matter who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity to discuss the matter. It came just after Biden spent extended time over the past week with Hunter and other family members on Nantucket in Massachusetts, a family tradition for Thanksgiving. I believe, and in quotations, it says, "I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected his process and it led to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense of dealing it further," Biden said in a statement announcing the pardon. Some in the administration have privately expressed anguish that the substance of Biden's statement, including his claim of an unfair politically tainted prosecution of his son, resembled complaints Trump, who faced now abandoned indictments over his role in trying to subvert the 2020 election, has been making for years about the Justice Department. The only reason why they were honestly the indictments were abandoned was because he is a legally president-elect, former and current future president of the U.S. That's it. Other than that, federal judges and federal courts have ruled that once Trump leaves office and is no longer affiliated with the government, he does not enjoy 100% or any type of immunity per Judge Tanya Chutkan's ruling. She did so because she believes in the rule of law. She dismissed these indictments without prejudice, meaning that they can be rebrought, which I hope they are rebrought, because Donald Trump, let's face it, you are a mean old nasty man, you're a rapist, you're a felon, you are a no good businessman, you stink like dog shit. You need to be held accountable for your actions, since you're talking about, oh, that's just a miscarriage of justice and justice needs to be restored. That is practice what you preach, Trump. Literally, dude, practice what the heck you preach. Moving on. Biden said the charges in his son's cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Many legal experts agree that the charges against the younger Biden were somewhat unusual, but the facts of the offenses were hardly in dispute. As Hunter wrote about his gun purchase while addicted to illegal drugs in his memoir, and ultimately pleaded guilty to the tax charges. The pardon, too, was unusual, coming before Hunter Biden was even sentenced, and covering not just a gun and tax offenses against his son, but also anything else he might have done going back to the start of 2020 or 2014, which was 10 years ago. It's a move that could limit the ability of the Trump Justice Department to investigate the younger Biden's unsavory foreign business dealings, or to find new ground on which to bring criminal charges related to that time period. Biden, in his statement, asked for consideration. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision, he said. Associated Press writer Amir Madhani in Washington and Will Weisert, aboard Air Force One contributor to this report, copyright 2024, the Associated Press, all rights reserved, which I give full or 50% credit to the Associated Press, as well as Amar and Will, as well as Colleen Long and Zeke Miller for this for this post, for this article. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, let's get to this video that came with the article.
President Joe Biden had pardoned his son Hunter Biden, saying that there were signs that his son was being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Now, Hunter Biden was facing the prospect of spending several years in prison after being convicted on gun charges in Delaware and on tax charges in Los Angeles. Now, the president has repeatedly said that he would not pardon his son. Take a listen.
Let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
In a statement on Sunday night, the president said, "The charges in this case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigating them to attack me and oppose my election." He also goes on to say that for my entire career, I have followed a simple principle. Just tell the American people the truth. They'll be fair-minded. And here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process, and it has led to a miscarriage of justice. Now, Joe Biden took office in 2021, promising to restore faith in the justice system, and this statement on Sunday night indicates that he believes the justice system has failed to treat his son fairly. Now, Hunter Biden will be covered under this pardon for anything that happened between 2014 and 2024. So the question remains whether Republicans in Congress and whether the incoming Trump administration will find new reasons to investigate Hunter Biden and the Biden family, as they have said they repeatedly would do.
Which legally, Biden has no authority in doing so.
Evan Perez, CNN, Washington.
Okay, everybody. Well, that is the conclusion of today's video. If you did enjoy this article, please do consider giving a like, commenting your opinions on the presidential immunity, and so on. And again, like I said, I do respect you guys. Honestly, I really do. I'm fully on the Democratic side. Full-heartedly. I have been ever since I registered to be a American legal citizen voter. Anyway, without further ado, please do consider giving a like, comment, and subscribing this video. Or if you guys do like, comment, and subscribe, it will help me out a huge lot. Thank you guys, and have a great rest of your guys' night.